Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of April 9th, 2012.
That's right.
I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Neil Patel.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. What is
Completely.
I'm supposed to talk.
He goes first.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's try.
Let's just.
Let's try this. I'll start over.
I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
Oh yeah, I'm Neil Patel.
Thank you.
Neil Patel has he's had some work done. Okay,
It's been a long week.
I'm not gonna lie.
It just
It has been a long week. Things didn't go as planned.
Oh, the music.
Where'd that music come from? Just these are little.
You heard me say start over and just.
It is good.
Cue the music.
Not gonna lie. Anyhow, this is Ross Miller, of course, and we're back. Nilay, I don't think I'm going to give anything away by saying Nilay is in Las Vegas or on his way to Las Vegas right now, drunk, just totally drunk, because he's having his bachelor party.
Yeah.
So if you're in Vegas, go tweet at Nilay, go find him, and you can live out a
Take some incriminating photos and get rich.
You could have a
He'll take shots with you.
You live out a scene from The Hangover, which he's doing right now. I don't know. I didn't ever finish watching it, so I don't really know what happened.
Either one, part 1 or 2.
I didn't watch any of part 2, and I didn't watch all of part 1. Anyhow, this is the Vergecast, where we discuss the week in technology, technology culture, and culture, or regular culture, pop culture. I don't know. You tell me.
Like Hangover.
Yeah.
Like The Hangover. That's pop culture.
And how much have we've seen of The Hangover?
Let me tell you about percentage-wise. If we're talking just pure percentages, I'd say I saw 65% of The Hangover.
So you missed the thing with the guy that did
I'd say I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either, actually. So
Was it a good part?
it's spoilers. I can't really.
This
I don't want
new mic thing doesn't give me the kind of flexibility that I want. I want to
You loosen it and you can do stuff.
There's like this. It's like weird armature. Like it's like a Terminator mic.
Yeah.
Can I do this? This thing's gonna snap off here any second.
It looks like it's become a sentient.
I feel like I'm dancing with it.
You should dip it.
I had the time of my life. Anyhow, there's more going on here than just me and this microphone making sweet love.
Is there?
Well, it's been a very exciting week in technology, Ross. It's funny you should. That's great. That's wonderful. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to get in there and discuss it. I like this.
So what happened?
Yeah, what did happen, Ross? Why don't you fill us in? What are the big stories of the week?
Well, the first one, the big one, Facebook is going to buy Instagram for $1 billion.
Facebook, the social network?
Facebook, the social network.
Yeah, so they're buying Instagram. So this is really funny because last week I was like very excited because Instagram finally came to Android. This really is not working. Because Instagram finally came to Android, and it looks like I'm doing something really suspicious with my arm here.
Take your time, we'll wait.
A shot. I've just adjusted the mic, I swear. So I was excited, and now Instagram is no longer an independent company. They've been purchased by Facebook for $1 billion, which is double their valuation.
Right, but to Facebook, it's like nothing.
To Facebook, Zuckerberg literally loses $1 billion in his sofa cushions. He's like trying to find a place to put the $1 billion, and he forgets about it, and he's like, whatever happened to that $1 billion? And he looks at the sofa cushions, and there they are, or couch cushions, depending on who you are.
I mean, they don't have all that money in cash, right?
No, I think they have all the money.
Have you seen the new Facebook
that's a lot
headquarters?
of
There are
stock.
What do you mean?
You mean a lot of stock?
You mean Facebook doesn't have whatever they're worth?
Right.
Oh, right, in stock. Oh, you mean the Instagram thing?
This isn't like Apple dropping $1 billion. This is a lot of hey, you might be worth a lot of money. We might be worth a lot of money. Let's
get together.
Yeah.
But it's still the point is the purchase is $1 billion.
Right.
So theories. Do you have theories on why they did this? I wrote something for the Post. I kind of played around with a couple of theories that we've heard that people have heard.
What were those? Let's break those down first.
Well, there's the theory that this is a defensive maneuver, that they were just trying to fend off people who were going to buy Instagram, or people who, people who were going to buy Instagram basically, and add this great component to whatever maybe Google, for instance, might have bought Instagram and added it to Google Plus, which would have been a big win for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, in fact, I could certainly conceive of a situation where Google went to these guys and said, "Here's $500 million. We want to buy you and integrate you into Google Plus."
Right.
And
so you think there was a bidding war?
Make it a thing on Android phones.
Well, and even if it did not happen,
well, we don't know.
Yeah. If we don't, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg may not know, but even if it happened, like they're paranoid about it too. They're probably thinking Google could take this. They've done filters in ice cream sandwich.
That's right. They did filters, and they're obviously pushing photo stuff on Google Plus.
Right.
So there's that defensive maneuver, right? They just wanted it to get it so no one else would. There's, of course, I'm sure they bought it partially for the technology, but I don't think there's anything so innovative going on.
Well, that's the thing.
in
is, like,
Instagram.
it's been so easy for so many other services to just copy
Right.
the I don't think the filters are that interesting. I think it's the user base. It's creative
the vibe.
people.
Right.
It's people creating. I mean, if you look at Facebook, most of what you put on Facebook is going to be like a link to something that you found on the internet.
Yeah. Or a personal,
or like a
photo.
like a quick little personal note. The photos that you do are like archival of your exploits.
yeah.
Right.
They're not a piece of like, hey, comment and be interested in the artistic merit of like.
But if you
photo
look,
that I
but
just took.
but so Al Malik wrote something about it, and he said he thought that part of it was the fear that it was motivated. They were motivated by Facebook was motivated by fear because Instagram was like this really fast growing social network that connected with people on a real emotional level, where Facebook is just kind of this is weirdly like kind of faceless, bland. It's just like this, and it doesn't have a lot of soul,
Well, you're
right?
like checking the box.
It's a sum of a lot of parts.
Right, but and what's interesting though, I think, is when you think about, and I mentioned this, when you think about the timeline and how the timeline is all about like nostalgia. The timeline is all about like looking backward and seeing what has happened. You can pull out those images and say like, here's a big event, and you have the image to go along with it. I mean, this makes sense to me in that regard, that they want to create some kind of emotional. They want you to be invested emotionally in Facebook.
Right.
The timeline, I think, was the goal of it was to get you to be more emotionally invested in Facebook. And so I think this is like, it's got the user base. It's got people who are like passionate, and they're like sharing these like what they consider to be creative, or artistic or interesting photos from their life, and they're connecting with people and doing that. I think this fits into their whole timeline thing. I think it is like part of that.
And I think the reaction that they've gotten, that like, oh my gosh, Facebook now it's ruined, Instagram is ruined forever, is really the exact reason why Facebook needs something like Instagram. They need some sort of cool, because they're Facebook is seen as this sort of horrible, ugly machine. Facebook is like the hip thing to quit. Like, oh, I quit Facebook.
Yeah, no, there were people.
And then you sign up again. But like,
there were people the day that they bought it.
Facebook
I talked to somebody last night. There were people the day they bought. They were like, I'm deleting Instagram now that Facebook bought it.
Right.
But like that's the vocal minority, because like I think today they said 10 million users in the last 10 days.
Yeah, I mean Android.
PR.
And also yes, it's
Android.
number one on iOS on the App Store, and or I don't know if it is today, but it was, and it's obviously massively popular now on Android. I think they picked up 5 million users after they. Right before the Facebook announcement, or right
because
after
the Android stuff.
Because of the Android, they said in 6 days, 5 million users.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy, an additional 5 million. But I think that it's weird. I don't understand this brand like deal. Like the people are like, screw Facebook. I'm deleting Instagram now that Facebook bought.
Well, I think it's what we were just talking about.
Like,
It's
who
that-
cares? Do you like
It's that faceless corporate entity, and
Right.
you always just ultimately you're not going to like a faceless.
Like, I
corporate-
mean, are you worried that now Facebook has access to what, the location of your photos and who and your
Facebook knows so much more about what I eat on a
I mean,
day-to-day basis.
the Instagram has the same access. I mean, they're not Facebook, but it's like, what do you think?
I do think people like Instagram because it's a Google circle that they made for themselves.
Right.
It's very selected of who they're sharing to, and
But it can still be that way. And they said that they're going
who they're following.
They said that they're going to continue to do the app
Right.
without changing it, without making it like some part of Facebook, like as a standalone thing. I just think it's weird. Like, I think if you buy into Google, you're not allowed to say like, well, I buy into Google, but I won't buy into Facebook because they're collecting data on me and
I don't think
selling me ads.
I don't think it's a privacy thing. I think it's an exclusivity.
Right, because if it was a privacy thing, they'd also argue about Foursquare,
If it's an
too.
exclusivity thing, I think it's even worse, actually. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
people.
it's
I think there's a lot of people
like,
who
oh,
probably
you're so exclusive amongst the 30 million people who use it for iOS.
Well, they're like
with
it's
your
like-
very special
it's like
iPhone that no one else has.
My parents figured out how to get on Facebook. They haven't figured out how to get on Instagram yet, so I'm okay. Until
Right. Well, they're gonna figure it out now.
I know they are.
No, I was talking to my uncle who's like 80, and he was like, "What is this Instagram?" I was reading about it in the Washington Post, or reading about he lives in DC.
All right.
And then all of a sudden, he's like, he wants to check it out, right?
Oh, my mom,
Yeah.
my sister complained about the fact that Facebook about
no.
it on her Tumblr, and I think that went to her Twitter. My mom has gotten to Twitter. My mom's
man.
on Twitter now.
Really?
And she follows.
I gotta follow your
But
mom
if
on
she
Twitter.
like doesn't know what's going on, she emailed my sister and I to like for clarification. So yeah, she asked for clarification.
Like
about
on
Instagram.
your tweets?
Yeah. Like if I tweet
like
something
she
that's
tweets
like
at you or
obscure-
she
no,
emails
she
you?
emails me.
like,
She,
I don't
she reads the
understand that
Twitter
joke.
and then she goes
Right.
to email.
Is she like, I don't get
yeah,
what's RLRT or something?
so, yeah, stuff like that.
Does she know it now?
I don't know.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, I don't know, the idea of exclusivity with these services, like, let's connect and share, but only a small amount of people. Like, that's great if you're a path because that's your whole deal. But, like, if you're on the internet to connect and share, you're on the internet to connect. It's like, what do you think's going to happen? People are going to see your stuff.
But, I mean, you saw so many articles in days like, here's Instagram alternatives, or here's how to get
Yeah, I
all
don't
your
get that
Instagram
either.
photos.
I don't get Instagram alternatives. Like, what? I don't understand. Like, why would you need an alternative? Is it because I don't understand the idea that you're so outraged that you are gonna like rage quit Instagram and then you're gonna go get like Hipstamatic and you're gonna like
Right.
start you're gonna hope like a new social network because here's what's gonna happen if that one gets popular, which you clearly want it to,
The Facebook's gonna buy it.
then someone else is gonna come along and buy it. Like here's how it works.
And you
like,
know what? You on Tumblr, like one of the like very popular things on Tumblr is to talk about how Tumblr is better than Facebook.
Yeah.
Like
Just
a
you
lot
wait.
of like there's a lot of Tumblr blogs, and then like they're just very personal Tumblr blogs, and they're reblogging all sorts of stuff, and like every 5 or 10 things is just why Tumblr is better than Facebook.
What does that mean?
It's
What
like
does that mean better than Facebook?
That's the thing. They're
I-
like a weird. It's an apple and
They're not,
oranges.
they're not the same
comparison.
thing. That's like saying like my bike is better than this hang glider.
Yeah, I mean, people use Tumblr for different
okay,
reasons.
I'm sorry. That's bad because they're both. Well, that kind of works.
All right.
A hang
Let's break
glider
this
is better
down.
than a bike.
I mean, it kind of works. But they're both modes of
I
transportation.
love my bike passionately, but if someone offered me a hang glider in exchange, I would take it.
Would you be able? Do you think you'd be able to?
I mean, is your
I
building
mean, do
tall
you think
enough?
the
Can
hang
can
glider would
take it up-
be useful like a bike? I feel like
think
it wouldn't.
I might reprioritize my life around.
Because
the
like
hang
I'll
glider.
get you a hang glider if you promise to use it instead of a bike.
Really?
To get around New York.
Oh, get around New York.
Oh, what did you think? Oh no! In the Grand Canyon.
We
I'm
do
sorry.
have rooftop access here.
We do.
I wonder if I.
I don't
jumped
think
off
it's
this
tall
roof,
enough to.
It would
you
only be
won't
like
get that
4. It's
far.
like 4
Well,
stories.
But the
You
thing
know
is,
that, right?
Yeah, but the
2 stories.
Creighton
says 2 stories.
2 stories.
You might get to the subway next
Well,
street.
I could sneak on to the roof of the other building, but like you get a lot in the summer. You're getting a lot of heat off the asphalt.
Really, by the way, I'm just incredibly.
I think you could
uncomfortable
stay
to
up for a long time. If
It's
you
like
don't-
it was like
you
taking the
don't-
pilot wings approach to figuring out like how to make this hang glider last as far as you can go.
Josh, I'm in.
Okay, you've heard it here. Paul is going to be a hang glider
And
instead
you're
of
gonna,
a
after
instead of a
you
New York
purchase
bike
me
rider.
a hang glider.
All
Does
of a
this
sudden,
look?
like,
By the way,
hang gliders feel
do I look like I'm
I
sitting
can't
in an
do it.
extremely uncomfortable position?
No, you look highly professional.
Yeah. This is like
I've got a point to make. I'm highly professional. Listen to this highly important, highly professional point. I'm very uncomfortable because I'm a little hungover. I just want to share that
just
with everyone.
bring that out now.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at, Creighton? Get out. No. I'm kidding. Come back. We love
we
you.
just lost our producer.
Oh, thank God. He's back. Okay, good. Anyhow, so yeah, I don't get the Instagram outrage. I have no problem with Facebook. But I mean, look. Oh, sorry. It doesn't matter. I mean, if they're not going to change this app, that's like the only thing I liked about it is the app. I'm not even sure I liked it that much. It was just the one thing it was like the one thing I wanted to have on my Android phone that I didn't have, and now I've got it, and my life is complete. Let me have that, people of Earth. Just let me.
That's a Creighton.
No, let me. Yeah, Creighton. Let me have that. Why are you trying to take? I have to rearrange.
so
this
panicked
microphone
right
again.
now.
But I don't get the outrage, and I feel like. Sorry, I'm just doing some more dance moves. This arm is really weird.
I mean, but you still have people like upset about Drop.io being bought. But then again, that was dissolved.
Yeah, that is the worst case scenario.
No. The worst case scenario
An
is
AccuHire
or yeah.
is the. I mean,
By the way, friend feed's still
Drop.io.
functioning. I just checked it out the other day. I was like, friend feed. What's
But
up
that's
with
like
that?
that's like abandoned.
My account's still there.
Like
It still works.
They've added zero function.
I mean, it's only abandonware because you're not using it.
hey,
Paul.
guys.
No.
MySpace is coming back.
Like abandonware is a term that means software that still exists.
Yeah.
Would theoretically still be
It's like
functional.
it's like TweetDeck for Android, which has now been turned into TweakDeck.
or like all Windows Phone apps. I was just kidding.
Get out.
Just dead silence.
Just get out. Anyhow, all right, let's move on. But Instagram. So anyhow, but amongst us, I mean, I want to know. Do you care that it's been purchased by Facebook? Like, what is your?
I don't care if they start to like make all the icons look like Facebook buttons.
Yeah, Facebook's graphics are the worst.
Or if like there's a thumbs up like button.
Yeah, have you ever looked at their graphics? They're really bad.
It's really
like
bad
their
aesthetic.
designs.
Their whole aesthetic is really lame.
It's very bad.
I think it's intentional. I think they're trying to look like faceless, like they're a utility, and not necessarily. And then now that's why people like Instagram, because it's homey, it's comfortable.
It feels like,
you click a little
vintage.
heart. You don't thumbs up.
Thumbs upping things is lame.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about
When's
it.
the last thing you like?
Wait,
thumbs
wait.
up
In
some-
real,
Do that
in
all the
re-
time. What are you talking about?
In real life, when do you ever not sarcastically do this? You don't.
I think it's coming back. I think we're bringing
Hey.
the thumbs up back.
Good job. Great job, guys. Cool.
Whatever. I'm gonna start
but like, you
unironically
even, I
thumbsing
don't even,
up
I don't even know
everything.
how to do it not sarcastically anymore.
Hearting is
Like that, you don't take that serious. There's no way I can
No.
do that seriously. If you're listening to the podcast,
Josh-
you can't see this, but I'm thumbs
Josh,
up it.
please,
happening.
please affirm me right now with a thumbs up.
Really good job with that post.
You could
really
you could at least
great.
try.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Oh, there you go.
Does that seem more realistic to you? Anyhow, so you're saying as long as they don't Facebook it up, you're happy.
Yeah.
So you
about you?
use Instagram a lot then?
I've just started using it as of like a month ago.
You guys obsessed with Instagram.
Yeah.
Every time I look at my feed, my Instagram feed, my Insta feed, all I see is Paul. No, actually, you don't do a lot of Instagram.
Not a lot.
You the other day you had like a couple. Like you were at a restaurant, you drawing a picture,
Yeah.
and something else was happening. I don't know. You know what? It's just not even that big of a deal, right?
No.
It's just a photo sharing service.
Just
It's
share
just like the
photos.
new. It's like Flickr with filters, kind of, but it's different. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, I don't use Instagram, so personally, I don't care.
What's that all about?
What? I don't need filters.
You don't think your friends want to see all your special moments with cool filters?
They do without the filters.
Well, you can do it without filters.
Yeah, but I don't use Instagram. I use Twitter.
Why not? Don't you want to share?
Oh, is Paul gonna start showing me his
Why
I'm
don't you?
just gonna hit.
It's like a family
I'm gonna take a
portrait.
photo and I'm gonna
All right.
Instagram it.
Why don't you want to share? Where's my phone?
Why don't you wanna share
I want to share. I don't want to share in sepia.
Can you grab my phone? I'm going to Instagram this moment as well.
I'm just gonna like.
Thank you. What? What's
That's
What
Cinema?
is cinema?
horrible photo.
Is that
Is
the gift
Cinemagram?
maker?
Is that Instagram for videos?
It's like quick animated gifs.
Yeah, you make
No, that I approve of.
Man, ICS. I really like it. Did I ever mention that? Did I ever tell you that? You know what I don't like? The camera on the Galaxy Nexus, however. It is...
It's so
What do you
quick.
think of Early
Josh.
Bird.
it is quick. I just wish it were like...
We got Walden.
Oh my god! Can we please retake that picture?
That
Even
was a
even
great,
joking.
great photo.
I'll tell you what, the light in here...
I looks like I have collagen in my lips, and my fingers just.
You're
I'm
you're
glad
being
no one can see this.
expressive.
I am so glad.
Wow,
no
you
one
guys
can
are
see this.
deep. Should I do a filter on this? Hang on.
Why do you care? You're not on Instagram.
Look at
You will
Paul's,
tweet
look
it.
at
I
Paul's
know it.
expression. Look how deep in thought he is. It doesn't even look like him. Look at this. Can you guys see this?
That is beautiful.
Can you? There we go. You can't see this, and you really can't see it if you're just listening to the audio. Well, should I put a filter on this? What year is this? What year did this happen in? I keep going to this one. I use this for everything because it's like a little bit of. Anyhow, guys, this is not a great.
Did you read Chris and Dieter's?
Yes.
Long
Oh,
essay?
speaking of Instagram, we should
We should
mention
talk
this.
about that.
So we have talked for a long time about doing a feature called Ping Counter Ping, which is basically point counterpoint for nerds. And we finally did our first one, which is Instagram is the best, Instagram is the worst, and it's Chris Ziegler, who hates Instagram, debating with Dieter Bohn, who loves Instagram, about the merits of Instagram. And you should read it. It's on the
It's
website.
really good.
It's called
And Chris could not be
It
more
is
right.
called Instagram is the best, Instagram is the worst.
Yes, it
right?
is.
It's really good, and it's part of our new series, which we're going to be doing a bunch more of. I predict, called Ping Counter Ping.
The next one's about The Hangover.
The next one is about the Hangover. I'm going to use this filter. How do you feel about that?
I want to put a frame on it.
That's fine.
You don't want? I like the frames.
Really?
All right, I'll do it without a frame.
I think we need fake metadata.
I'm going to do
up top.
1977. I'm going to do 19. Oh, that has a frame.
Yeah, but you can turn off the frame.
Can you really?
Oh, that's right. You can turn off the frame. Okay, 77 with no frame. All right, my man. You got it.
My sister basically taught. You know,
I don't like that.
I think that's why I use Instagram. It's like because it's just like me and my sister and like one other friend. Like that's our main like circle. Just people we're sharing with.
I'll be honest with
But
you.
so does it share with just those 4 people?
No,
or,
like
just
there's a
everyone
bunch
on
of people
Instagram
like
you can
liking and
follow?
commenting and stuff like that. But
I'm
like,
using the frame. don't care.
But I'm mostly just communicating like more personally.
What do you mean more personally? Like,
It's like mostly to like.
I'm going to kill you.
It's mostly like my sister puts a photo up and I like it, and then I put a photo up and she likes it, and that's like the most of the interchange that matters to me on Instagram.
And that sounds like what Facebook has always done, what it wants to do.
I've done it. It's up. It's up on Twitter and Instagram right now.
Nice.
You can see a live moment from inside.
I will check it on Twitter.
All
I don't
right.
have to worry about Instagram.
So Ross you're going to start using Instagram now, right?
I mean, I'm using it right now.
Now
Are
that
you really?
Facebook owns it.
Great.
No.
Not now. Yeah. I'm going to start using it because Facebook owns it. All right. What's next on the list here? What do we have?
If you want to get into this now, we can go ahead and start about the Department of Justice case against Apple.
Can anybody explain this to me?
I mean, this is one of those times where I wish Neeli was here.
Exactly.
I am not going to be a good replacement Neeli for this.
I mean, I understand.
I remember this
that
brewing for a while.
Yeah.
Right. We heard about this, I think, a couple days before it was filed.
You remember there was like it was almost like an overheard conversation of Steve Jobs after an Apple event, and he's basically, yeah, publishers are really pissed at Amazon for like pushing the prices so low, so we're gonna help them out. Like I remember
Yeah,
there was
right.
like something along. I mean, he didn't say it that like shadily, but it was kind of
What are
along
the-
those
But
lines.
even that's not shady to say.
Yeah.
We see an opportunity.
right.
But it doesn't say we're going to collude together and start.
Right. You have a
setting
Well,
Well, I guess that's what the law has to
Give us
figure
a-
out is
give us a
like,
couple-
where does that happen? You know,
have-
where is like, hey, let's help you make your prices higher versus let's fix prices.
Right.
And
Right.
what's the difference?
So in a nutshell,
give a few bullet
what the
points
U.S.
right here.
government is suggesting is claiming what happened was HarperCollins, Penguin, Simon Schuster, and Macmillan all colluded together in these very.
By the way, a few people have already settled, like
yes.
Hatchet, and a few others. I think settled with the DOJ.
and I think Macmillan is still fighting it. Apple is.
Some of them are
Clearly.
coming out swinging. So go
Yes.
ahead. Sorry, read what you've got there. I want to go through this.
Yeah. Anyway, so HarperCollins, Penguin, Simon and Schuster, and Macmillan. Random House not
It
invited.
is, by the way, it is like a lot of the publishers.
Yes,
You know,
it's-
this is not. This
it's
is not.
5
they're
of the
not,
big 6.
They're not, and they're not small time. Like this is not like Paul Miller Press.
yeah.
No.
By the
Although
way.
I did collude. I'm,
Let me-
I'm sorry.
You did collude on price fixing. That is true.
Paul Miller Press, of course, is on.
Great job
Kindle
on that,
singles.
Paul. Way to collude on price fixing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, go on.
Anyway, so I mean, it's some actually like really interesting stuff. Like apparently they met. Here he is.
But sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So anyway, the Department of Justice alleges that from around September of 2008 to sometime in 2009, all the publishing CEOs would gather in a quote private dining rooms of the upscale Manhattan restaurants
Yes.
Sounds
and
Yes.
talk business.
That's what I want to be doing.
Private rooms called-
invite me. Let me fix a price with you.
Would you like to go to the chef's wine cellar? I don't
Yes.
think they're going to be there anymore.
Yes. Go on.
These
No,
guys
wait, I
were,
want to hear more of
these
these
guys
points.
were
Let's hear it.
cooperating.
Yeah.
Like
They were-
teamwork.
They were just getting together like rich people do to agree on things that will hurt poor people. What's wrong with that? What's
This
the problem?
This is all class war. This
I
is
don't
all
see the
class
problem.
warfare, Josh.
Well, let's just say that the guys who run those publishers are not like, they're not occupying.
They weren't all like sipping Diet
They're not
Cokes
occupying
and
anything
just-
except for large dining rooms in expensive restaurants.
Yeah.
Not that I care. It's fine. Do
So
whatever
anyway,
you want.
they were all getting together talking about how much they hate Jeff Bezos and they want his head
Well, no,
on
but
a
I think
stake.
I think. Did you just call Jeff
Bezos?
Did you just
Bezos.
call him a French? Is that a French pronunciation of his name?
No, sorry. excuse
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Bezos.
Is that who you mean?
I'm sorry.
Bezo.
Bezos.
Okay, what country are you from?
I'm secretly French.
It's not like Neeli when Neeli's here, man. He pronounces everything perfectly. But it is true that Amazon has had a real stranglehold on
Well,
on
Sorry.
virtual book sales.
Not just a stranglehold on like as far as the Kindle, but like I think the Kindle was one thing and the prices of the Kindle were one thing, but it's at a point now, and you hear it talked about more like as of 2010, 2011. So this is a little before that, but like
Right.
Amazon almost wants to entirely replace the whole book industry.
Right, I think,
No,
I think
they've
even back
said
then
it.
they knew that.
That's
Yeah.
like
I mean, Jeff
they're not
Bezos,
just about like
Jeff
selling
Bezos
books.
has said
Bezos.
that he wants to. They want to like completely upend the book industry.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
B dog.
Yeah, no, and it's like it's to the point where they don't want to just be a retailer of books. They want to be all the publisher, basically. They're like setting up a ton of sub-publishers inside of Amazon to basically replace each individual existing real-life publisher.
Right. Sorry, I got to readjust my mic.
It's I mean they're wild and aggressive, and it's pretty extreme. And not that makes colluding right. I'm just saying like they are terrified.
Well, I think
of
I think
Amazon.
the issue is that, I mean, I think the issue is that I think there were maybe other ways to get it. This, by the way, Apple says they had a statement today. Can you pull up the statement? I want to
get it real quick.
I want to read it because they actually cover. Not only do they defend themselves, and by the way, we don't know the answer yet. The DOJ, just because the DOJ files suit, doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna win.
Right, but at the same time, like I mean, these people don't like mess around. If
They
they're
don't.
gonna file
It is the U.S.
You ever hear of Microsoft?
It is the
They mess with the DOJ.
It is the government basically suing them. The department. This is the statement. Let me just tilt this. The Department of Justice accusation of this is from Apple. The Department of Justice accusation of collusion against Apple is simply not true. The launch of the iBook store in 2010 fostered innovation and competition, breaking Amazon's monopolistic grip on the publishing industry. Since then, customers have benefited from ebooks that are more interactive and engaging. Just as we have allowed developers to set prices on the App Store, publishers set prices on the iBook store.
Sent from iPad.
But the issue is not that they set the prices. The issue is that they colluded to decide what the prices would be as an industry, essentially.
Because
I mean,
the
these
alternative
publishers-
to that would be like someone shows up like, oh, we should charge more on the iBook store, and they pop out with like a $12.99 book, like but then like one of their other publishers does $9.99. So
that's the
which
thing.
was what basically Amazon was kind of forcing people to do.
Right. And I think it's a relatively complicated issue. That the thing about this though is that I don't know if it is I mean, there is a point where you cannot. I don't think books work the same as music or I mean,
I mean, at the same time, like, it's still like they're not like competing apples to apples. These books are not necessarily commoditized to this extent. There's fiction, different author, good different.
I don't understand, but didn't we just do this with music like 10 years ago, and nobody seemed to have a problem with it, where they decided that albums were going to be.
That
I guess
was
it's because
Apple's
I guess when when they started doing it, Apple was non-existent in terms of it was more than 10 years ago, I guess now, but they were non-existent. No, it was about 10 in terms of presence, right? But wasn't the iBook store non-existent in terms of presence? I mean, when you think
I
about,
think that's what I think they saw. Amazon was forcing them to really low prices. Like if you want to sell on Kindle, you have to agree to these really low prices. And Apple's like, "Hey, charge more on our bookstore." You know?
And publishers
they're probably working for exclusives.
And publishers are like, "That's great because we don't want to be priced out of business."
And typically, you hear about Apple working with individual like movie distributors. They work with Universal separate from Paramount, separate from whatever.
I mean, the weird thing about this is that what it gets to is that root of we're in this transition period where we're going from the physical media that costs a lot of money to produce, that you have to ship, you have, and book publishers are offsetting the costs of the book are that has to do with how the book is produced, like physically produced, right? And this is like this weird thing where like we all think books should probably cost less than they do now that you can just deliver them, wirelessly. Well, in a file.
I think people are overestimating how much that publishing cost really is.
Well, I think that the thing is, like, how do you change the entire industry? How do authors still get paid?
Right.
And how do publishers still exist if they're not doing? I mean, they can't just dismantle and people still buy paper books.
So
it's
obviously, nobody knows what digital goods should cost. Like that's just
free.
always
They should be free.
Always
free.
confusing, and that's what we've been figuring out for a long time. But I think Apple has shown, like when the App Store came out, most apps on the iPhone are like $10.
No, that's not
when
true.
the App Store first came out.
I don't think so.
The iPad's App Store?
No, the iPhone's App Store. Most of them are like $5 to $10.
I don't remember that.
Like a lot of more expensive.
I don't
apps.
think so. No, they made a point about the 99-cent apps right off the bat. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. I think that you're confused. I think you are.
Well, I don't know. A lot of the
Diet Coke is going right to your
guess
head.
so. A lot of the games. Remember, most games were like $5, $10.
I don't think it was most games. There were some games that were more expensive, but I feel like Ross. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Wasn't the 99-cent thing like a thing right off the bat?
I think
If
so. I
only
don't-
there was some, if only there was some service we could use to find this information. It is actually kind of a complicated thing. To
'Cause I
find.
think,
It is,
in
actually.
my
I mean, they
opinion,
can't even figure out when Mario came out, for God's sake. Some things are just
the prices came down
Well, they're just
drastically.
not trying.
yeah.
And,
I remember-
and
I
now,
don't think-
now
I
you
think there
have
were-
like really high quality apps going for $1 or $2, and I think I know it's scary. It's probably sacrilege to say this to a book publisher, but I think you could do a lot more volume and sell a lot more copies of a book if it wasn't $10 or $15. I mean, people don't want to
Well, so,
like.
I mean,
it's a big because a book is something
Well,
that
but if
you
you sell
might
half
not
as many
read.
for twice as much, then it doesn't really
Well,
matter.
yeah,
does it?
that's always the fear.
Although,
but I
actually-
think there's something about books that you don't know. It's hard to guarantee yourself that you're gonna read it,
Right.
And so you don't want to like invest a lot of money in something that you're pretty sure you're not gonna read.
So let's specify, like,
but
what's
if you
actually-
could, if you could
I don't know.
buy
I
a book
buy a lot
for,
of books that I don't read. And,
well, me too. But and that's something that holds me back from buying even more books.
Right.
But if books were like 99 cents or $2, like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy a bunch of these. I'm gonna buy this whole series. I'm just gonna have these on hand, and then if I get into them at some point,
And that's the Kindle singles model. And let's be clear, like specify what kind of books are actually being hurt. Hardcovers are being hurt, but not nearly as much. It's the mass market paperback,
Right.
which has the
Sure.
highest margins for
which are
publishers.
priced to sell though.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
priced to move. That the cheapest produced.
I mean, I think that. I don't think that you can do exactly the same thing. See, the other thing about it is the model, right? I actually think this is the thing that where the publishers are probably freaked out and where we need to consider what the future is. Because when you look at the model, I think apps are a great example. Instagram is a perfect example of this. Instagram was a startup. They were privately funded. It was a couple of guys that started it. And now they've made $1 billion, right? And they're out. You know, they're still running their business, but they've made their profit essentially on that investment. But you know, these entrenched industries. I mean, if it's a 1-to-1 publishing model, if it's like you wrote a book and you're publishing it, 99 cents may make a lot more sense for you.
which is what Amazon's trying to do.
Because
with
you don't
their-
have an
their
entrenched,
programs.
you don't have an industry, you don't have a business. You're not running you don't have this big machine behind you, right? But for a publisher to go from $10 a book to 99 cents is like, I think, impossible for them at this point. And it will be impossible for a long time. And you have to think, you know, books don't sell in the volume that like records sell in. You know, I mean, what's the biggest selling? I mean, they certainly. Well, actually, I don't know the exact numbers on that, but I would say that there's a lot of books and there's a lot of music, and most people aren't buying any of them. Let's
Right.
put it that way.
Yeah.
well, and I
Does that make
I
sense?
think a lot more people know the
does
name.
not make sense.
People know the names of books that they don't ever actually buy. You know, the thing
Like
about
Harry Potter.
you know, some of the most like popular books
Like
ever
Harry Potter.
on like Harry Potter. Everybody buys Harry Potter.
Although
The
Harry
Hunger
Potter
Games.
did not do as well on digital books.
well, they waited like
She
100
waited. They
years.
didn't- she didn't
Everybody's
wanna-
read the
Everyone's
book
got the
series
hardcover
like
copy.
They didn't
five
want to
times.
publish digitally.
they didn't
but,
have to.
That's right. They didn't have to. But you know, Harry Potter's 1 in a billion.
But
Literally.
you know one of the most popular ebooks ever is The Art of War, which is it's public domain. And
Everybody wants
so,
to seem
so
cool.
it's always
I feel like
sold.
that's- I feel like
so
that's how you get
so
to
here's
you
the
get too
thing:
cool.
everybody knows the name of it, but it's sold really cheap. Like I've never read any of the Girl with a Dragon Tattoo books, right?
Yeah.
But if I could get each of them for 99 cents, I would just do it in a heartbeat. Like because everybody knows the name.
Yeah, but I think that I don't know if you're the target market.
I don't know. I'm just
If you're
floating
just
this
gonna
out
buy,
there.
if you
I
just want to
think-
buy books because you might read them if they're cheap enough, I don't think that's what they want. I think they want people who will pay money to read them because
Yeah,
they
but
want.
they have a really small market.
But and then
Well,
also, like
it's
Girl
not-
Dragon
I
2 is
mean-
another example of a huge franchise. Like,
Yeah.
they could afford to do that.
I mean,
But they could.
I think it's kind of like indie artists. It's like, could they afford, they sell their records at $10. Could they afford to sell their record? Like you'll see like a new Kanye West record is like $4 when it
Right.
comes out, or $5.
Well, Amazon does a lot of those deals. For
Right,
music.
they're
really popular.
But could they do them for like a small artist, on an indie label? I mean, they could, but that, for that artist, it's not going to make sense.
and that brings about a good point.
They're going to sell the same amount of records, but they're not going to make as much
Sure.
money. And
Right. It makes the most sense for things with like high name recognition. Like a book comes out, it's a bestseller for like a few months, and then it goes on like a really sharp sale.
We should take a call. We should take some calls. I'd like to find out. I'd like to know from listeners about how they like what their perception of book buying at this state is.
Actually, but you do, before that though, I want to say you brought out actually a good point. Like the big publishers versus like these authors now. How much does an author need a big publisher to get their book out there and return a profit? And
Well, I
make
mean,
money?
we've seen instances of people being really successful self-publishing on Amazon,
Right.
which they provide, and now Apple's sort of doing the same thing. Like they provide a really basic, easy
A lot of
way.
those are pretty cheap.
well,
$5 a
they're
book.
cheap because there's nothing. It doesn't cost anything to
And
produce.
they're not
them.
very good.
They're not very good because there's no like editors
Right,
reading them
right.
going like, wait,
Right.
this is crap. Don't write that. But here's what I want to know: if you're calling in, are you a book buyer? How do you buy your books? And do you think that? I mean, do you feel like Amazon has a monopoly on book? Because I will say the iBookstore is really lacking in selection.
Well, it's just I don't like using the iBook store.
I don't like
I feel
it
like I'm
either.
locked into iPad
Either.
or iPhone, which is like not how I want to read all the time.
No, I think what's so great about Kindle, I'm sorry to say, for everybody who doesn't like Kindle,
Jump to device to device.
is that you device to device, you're syncing from device to device. You're not constrained in any way. I can do it on. I mean, I use Kindle for my iPad. That's how I read most of the time. I don't use the iBookstore. It looks like we have some calls coming in. Are these calls coming in, Creighton? By the way, we have a new system here. It's called the Tellus. You can't see it. It's the cousin of Collins, Tellus and Collins. One of my favorite pop bands from the 80s.
I had Tellus and Collins last night. I
yeah.
just do not remember anything.
Yeah,
after
you
that.
don't? Yeah.
It's just gone.
Anyhow, I'm going to take a call here for the first time ever using this system.
I'm a little scared.
I'm a little scared,
I'm embracing
too.
myself for this one.
All right. Caller, you're on the air. What is your name? And tell me about your relationship with book buying in the 21st century.
Hello, I'm Jamie Spittle. I've actually played StarCraft with Paul, so hey, Paul, how's it going?
Hey,
Hey,
look
what's
at that.
going on?
It's a friend
Hey,
of
man.
the family.
How's your Zerg Rush?
What? Please don't use that
It's
language.
actually going horribly right now. This new season is killing me.
I
I haven't played in the
Answer.
new season yet.
No idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
these new
Sorry, we're
maps-
about books. I'm sorry,
But
it's books.
anyway, right, I'll tell you about books. I actually
StarCraft.
have a very strange relationship with books. I mean, very strange. But
What do we mean
I
by
have
that? Can you elaborate?
Are
I'm
we
sorry.
talking like
let's
Lovecraft
just
strange,
stop.
John
Let's
Waters
just stop.
strange?
Before you say whatever you're going to say, what do you mean very strange?
When you
Can
unwrap the book, what's the first thing you do?
Yeah, what's happening over
you-
there? How strange is this relationship you have with books?
I like to smell the pages.
Oh,
That's not strange at all.
Laura is a big page smeller. She loves that. I don't know. Is that gross?
is
Is that
good.
weird?
That's awesome.
They
Like,
smell.
that's
Some books smell really good.
Wait, so are you saying you don't buy ebooks because you like to smell things?
Well, the thing is, now that everything's going electronic, that pleasure is gone.
So what if technology catches up to where you can actually smell? You can
No,
smell.
it'll never be the same, will it?
Smell-o-vision.
What if you have like an AR, an implant that lets you can see like a 3D page that you're flipping through, and then you get some sort of smell.
But it doesn't have to be the
sensation?
best. It just has to be good enough.
Just good enough. No, so
And like the thing is, like,
you're a
through
physician.
time, the page smelling would be worse and worse.
Yeah. Until there's no smell at all.
What about just the pricing? Like, have you bought digital books?
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Are you a digital book buyer?
All right, well, I'll go into that. I have bought a couple digital books, and I kind of feel the same way about movies in the same way. So, like I said, I have an HP touchpad that I have put
What?
Emma ICS on, and
How is that, by
I
the
really,
way?
really like it. It's actually really good. I'll be honest. I really like it. But,
I guess I
anyway,
believe
so
you.
I've been, but anyway, so I've been watching Game of Thrones, and I really want to read the books. And I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go buy the online, the digital copies of these books, and it's like $16 for each book on Play Books.
It is
And,
very expensive. That's true.
I'm sorry if I was shrill when I
Same.
said yes.
Yeah. No. Paul was like screaming.
I think Game of Thrones is a perfect
But
example.
that is an example
it's
where
a
they should
huge
price lower because.
ton of name recognition. You're going to get a really, really high volume.
Right. I feel like that's an example where they should price a little bit lower because they know there's going to be these like new readers who maybe are more casual who want to dip their toes in the
Well,
water.
but at the same time, you see all these critics like you will love the show, but you really do need to read the books alongside. To
I
understand
don't
what's
know.
going on.
Honestly, I don't know how anybody watches that show without having read the books.
You know,
I
It
just
is-
watch for Peter Dinklage.
Well, and with-
I think he's just great.
Well, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, how do you watch that show and have any idea what's going on?
well, and
By
I did think Rob Stark and Jon Snow were the same person for 5 episodes.
This is what I'm talking about. There's no way you can know.
But like book prices like with app prices, if an app is 99 cents and you're like, oh yeah, you should get this app, and someone will ask you, well, how much is it? If I say 99 cents, they download it right then.
Right.
If I say $1.99, like, and they need to be very convinced that it's an awesome
I just
app.
don't think you can go as low with books. It's just a totally different industry.
Well, I think you could if they were selling Game of Thrones for $5 or less. Jamie, would you have bought it?
I would, in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. And I would have bought the entire series in a heartbeat.
So let me ask you.
You could sell the first book for $5. Then they're
So
hooked,
what
then
is
you
your-
sell each rest of the
They're
books
like-
for $20 each.
They're in-book purchases.
Well, so what's
You're
your-
getting extended content.
$50 each.
Chapter by chapter
I like
DLC.
the idea of in-book purchases where like certain characters aren't developed
that'd
unless
be
you
so good.
unless you buy that part of the book.
Do you
Like,
want
I'd
to hear
love
more
to-
about Jon Snow's
Like, I'd love to know
backstory?
I'd love to know where Jon Snow came from, and it's like 99 cents to find out like
my gosh.
what
I was
his.
so...
But like the
Dude.
book just expands. Like they just cut out stuff, and then like those parts
Oh,
expand.
wow.
Did you ever read House of Leaves?
No.
Like, this is like one of those books, like, you have to
Do
jump
not
from...
spoil that book for
I
me.
won't.
Yeah, please.
Everybody's been
But,
telling
like,
me
you
about it.
jump from page to page all the time. So it's like, that
Oh
is the
really?
perfect...
Stop! You just spoiled it right there.
If only that book was $1.99, I would have.
Spoiler
read it.
alert.
If the
So
first
Jamie,
page was
Jamie, what do you
$1.99.
think about the new news about the Heart of the Swarm updates?
Oh, are you talking about
Oh, my
StarCraft
goodness.
now?
I'm
Yeah.
actually very excited.
Okay, all right, Jamie. We have to move to another caller. On that note, thank you for dialing in. I don't know what we learned
No
about.
problem.
I don't know what we learned about your book purchasing habits, but I am excited to have spoken to you. So thanks for calling in.
You know what?
No, go ahead. You're still on. Go ahead.
Oh, right. I ended up actually illegally downloading the Game of Thrones series.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's dark.
Good thing we don't know your
So-
full name.
Good thing we don't know who you are or where you live.
The losing business publishers.
Expect this police at your door very soon. All right, next call.
You know,
Next
my-
caller, you're on the air. What is your name, and in what way are you? What kind of special relationship?
And what have you stolen recently?
Do you have?
Are
with
you a
books?
digital dabbler?
Are you a dabbler? Do you download books?
I'm not a digital dabbler. I'm a digital native.
Nice.
Oh.
You're our kind of
Good
guy.
comeback. I like it.
Go on.
My name is Tizzleton. I actually used to work at a publishing house, and now I work as a freelance writer, among other things. And I also, in between then and now, managed a used record store. And so I have kind of seen the
sound
end,
cool.
if you will, of the physical media.
I wanna hang out with
industry
you.
With regard to music.
You're into books.
Have you ever
run a used
colluded?
record store?
Have you done any colluding?
No, but I do believe that Apple and the publishing industry colluded. Just having worked in publishing, the idea that like any one company would be bold enough to do what to move to an agency model from a wholesale model, with the idea that their competitors would not, I think would have freaked everyone out.
No, you said you actually worked
I-
at a publisher. Did you work at one of the big six or one of the big five of six that were?
I did.
part
I
of this?
did not work at one of the big six directly, although I did do some subcontracting for Penguin.
Ooh. Can you tell us any dirt? Any penguin dirt?
And you're saying for a fact that Penguin colluded.
No, but you believe there was collusion, and you think that it's bad for
What-
you think it's bad for the
What
industry.
I believe is that if Penguin saw that Amazon had a deal that was a wholesale model, which was bad for them individually, they would have sought to get out of it. But the fear is if they had tried to go away from it by themselves and every other competitor did not go away from it, they would have been too afraid to have lost that money in the short term. They wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But if five of their biggest competitors or four of their biggest competitors do it with them, then there is essentially no risk.
That's what's so troubling about this is the idea that there is no possibility of experimentation in a situation where everyone agrees to maintain prices at a certain level, right?
Right.
Because that is what's
Well-
so. Go on.
I was just going to say, I mean, what they did, it shows me that they were paying attention to what happened in the music industry, but they also understood that they have a unique product. And something that you said earlier, Josh, about like the discount Kanye records. I don't know if you realize this, but like record stores don't actually buy those records. What happens is when you go into Best Buy or what used to be Tower Records, and you would see like that Tuesday only special or the first week special, and it would be $8.99. Those records were free. what would happen is Best Buy would agree to buy 50,000 copies of the record, and they would get 5,000 free to charge whatever they wanted to charge for it. And you can do that in the record industry because it's really generated, just like Hollywood blockbusters, it's generated by first week sales.
Yeah.
So people don't have to buy the record; they can impulse buy it, like Paul's saying, and get it at a discount price and never listen to it, and it still helps your artist.
But that
It would
model
drive people. Drive people to independent stores like mine. But the thing is, that doesn't work in books.
But I was going to say that model couldn't exist in books the way that the industry is structured.
And also, like music, for example, has ulterior motives of getting money, like ticket sales, merchandising.
Well, there's merchandising and live shows.
And you don't get very rarely get.
Oh, but it's also just the idea that if you have a great first week as a recording artist, it can sustain you. I mean, Adele had a great first month, and it sustained her for 7 months last year. If the new Harry Potter has a big first week, it doesn't really mean anything because it's ultimately people reading the book, forming an emotional attachment to it, and recommending it. Books are way more peer-to-peer recommendation than they are like checking the New York Times.
No, that is true.
But
There
does that
aren't
peer-to-peer benefit when the price is lower?
Well,
I mean,
at scale, but not. I think
a
not
big
like in
thing
every
for,
case.
for privacy or piracy advocates is they're saying, "Well, I'm stealing this, but then I'm going to recommend it." So
well, that's BS.
Yeah.
That's not.
Your example, Paul, was that you were gonna buy it on an impulse and then get to it later. That might actually hurt the peer-to-peer.
Oh, right.
You can say,
No.
"Yeah, I bought the book, but I just haven't had time to read it yet."
That actually kind of makes sense. But it's funny too.
I
but-
dislike
but you are but
for
you-
having good points
but you
against
are
my own points.
no, but you're but he's right in when you think about books, when you think about how they're marketed, when you think about authors, there's no like cool authors on the covers of magazines. Like you don't see that ever. They just like not books are not the same.
There's almost as many top artists, not as many. You know, there's some named artists. If you walk into an airport bookstore,
Okay, yeah,
you
but-
see the names
but
of
on
the
the-
artists
but-
that are
but
popular.
they don't
like
put
that.
but they don't put yeah, but there's like there's a magazine for every genre of music, and there's like a new hot artist on the cover every month,
Right.
And it's a different person.
And that person is possibly
And there's
even
like one for
attractive.
metal, there's one for like hip hop, and there's one for techno, and there's one for
More than just one.
easy listening. No, right, more than one. Multiple magazines that they sell on newsstands, and then like so there's this whole industry of like celebrity around music that doesn't exist in books, and it is. I think it is true that I mean it makes sense when you think about it that they're not really.
If they could,
there's no source
if they
to
could
find
lock
them.
you in to like reading the book in a similar way to what AT&T and Nokia are doing with the Lumia.
Uh-oh.
I know you can't say that, like
Talk about the Lumia.
Bad, but there's a 2-year contract model there, and so if you buy the phone and you make it past the 30-day return window, you've got it, and so Nokia wins. The problem with the book is they can't compel you to read it, so they need to make their money on the front end. Hopefully, what that means is because you paid more, you'll be more inclined to actually read it. And if they believe in the book, they believe you're going to have a strong attachment to it, you'll recommend it to somebody. And that's why books tend to have a groundswell. And you know when a book is kind of crested, because that's when the movie deal gets signed.
And and it's a good point that you can't, when you think about the way books function, they're not, and it's not a casual encounter that you're having with them. Music is like, I put it on the background. I like listening to that, like when I'm working. Books are like, they actually require your entire brain to be focusing on them. Which
I have purchased books where I bought the preview, or not. Sometimes you can read a free preview of a book.
Like the first 10 pages. Of
Yeah, and then I've definitely done that. Where I
And I don't want to. Well, let me say this: people at Penguin weren't necessarily big fans of the fact that Amazon gave you a 10 or 20-page preview either. I don't think
they don't like that. Oh, why? Because they feel like people get it out of their system.
Then you could actually judge a book on its merit.
Yeah, not by its cover. How dare they?
Well, they like it when you judge it by its cover.
Right.
They spend a lot of money on covers, and when you guys talk about turning the industry upside down, it's true.
That's what I'm saying is like if you go in and you're like, yeah, I didn't really like that, you're not going to buy it, but you may have spent the $10 on it or whatever, $15 just because you thought you wanted. I bought books based on the cover. That is definitely true.
Well, I think
I've been disappointed every time.
I mean, I
But
think
you still have it on
there's
your
a
shelf because it looks pretty.
Right.
there's a parallel to the
gotta throw it
music
out.
industry here, where the really successful books are subsidizing the ones that don't do so well.
Yeah.
And there is an
That's
aspect
true.
in publishing where sometimes you are subsidizing some really great piece of art that just isn't, just doesn't get exposure right. But for the most part, you're subsidizing bad stuff.
Right.
It's just not very good, and it
The other thing
fails.
the
They
publishing
keep on
companies
trying.
want to do, though, is that they want to kind of create a relationship with a wholesaler, be it Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or Borders before they went out of business, where those people are buying a lot of things on their catalog. The other thing that scares people about both the iBook model and the Amazon online model is that you're buying one book, and it's kind of we have to continue to make that sale over and over from a wholesale standpoint. In other words,
Right.
Penguin or Macmillan they have to sell a bunch of individual books as opposed to getting you to buy a whole truckload of books.
Right. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta move on. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling in. This is actually really interesting. You brought up some really, really interesting points, and I do hope you'll call back. It's great to hear. What's nice is like you actually have a bunch of, sort of background from a variety of industries. So you're kind of talking about like the record industry and the book industry, and I think it's like interesting to hear how those two things in the real world actually work. Because
I think you brought up some interesting points. Like, it almost sounds like there's a flawed revenue stream for the publishing business. Where it's it's just upfront,
there's an unchanged. I think the problem is there's not a modern revenue.
Right.
It's just like
there's a lot of missed opportunities that not even Amazon's.
They haven't
actually
adapted.
doing
They
yet.
haven't adapted yet. And if you don't adapt, you're screwed. Anyhow, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. Oh wait, hold on. Are we gonna take another call?
Still can't
no, okay.
find
We're
this-
gonna.
this
We should
app
move on. We
stats
actually
thing.
have a bunch of other topics to get to, and we should get to them.
The chat has lit up with hashtag hire the caller.
Hire the caller. Yeah,
Good, that's good.
Maybe we will.
Wow.
Send us an email.
Maybe we already have.
Email. Yeah, that's right. You don't know what we're up to. What's next on the list?
Next on the list, unfortunately, is another lawyer thing. So we'll see how fast
Oh
we can
my
get through
gosh.
this.
No. Let's
Oh
just
my
skip it.
gosh.
What is
Yeah,
it?
it's
the
Nest.
Honeywell thing.
Yeah.
Let's just say this. Nest has. So you guys know there was a Honeywell filed suit against Nest for patent infringement. Is that right? Yeah, patent infringement. And Nest has fired back, saying that Nest. Let's just say that Nest has said Honeywell is
There's some pretty strong words in
worse than a patent troll.
Yes.
Is what they described.
They are trying to strangle us, and we're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah. Did Tony Fidel say that?
Is it Tony Fidel? Yeah, I think it is. Tony
Anyhow,
Fidel
so
quoted.
this is going to be an ongoing battle. I mean, I think what's interesting is, did you ever in your life think to yourself, well, before I die, I'm going to see a knockdown, drag out battle between Honeywell and another maker of a thermostat over patents? Did you ever think that would be something that would be important to you in any way, shape,
Well,
or
Tony
form?
Fidel was right. No one cares about this thermostat industry. Let's get in. Let's do something.
It is kind of like, no, they were like, yeah, the thermostat industry has been no innovation. As soon as there's a single piece of innovation, somebody's like, this cannot stand. We have to go to court over this thermostat.
Honeywell was probably
By the way,
really pissed.
Honeywell,
when-
I'm sorry, Honeywell,
When
you-
Facebook bought Instagram, they were like, Honeywell just, oh my gosh.
Not to diss Honeywell, because you know what, maybe they've got a valid point, but I'm sorry. Talk about monopolies. Have you ever seen a thermostat that wasn't a Honeywell? I've lived in like 25 different apartments. Every apartment had a Honeywell thermostat. I mean,
I don't have enough.
how
I don't
long,
have a
how long
thermostat.
are you allowed
But if
to
you did,
corner?
it'd be Honeywell.
How long are you allowed to corner the industry on thermostats? Like, there should be
Some people don't even have thermostats.
should be a statute of limitations on like thermostat monopolies. I mean, seriously,
Colluding. Honeywell's probably colluding.
Honeywell invented.
With
They
itself.
invented the idea of a temperature in your home.
I want a $1.99 thermostat.
They're the first company who could.
The first degree is free. Every increased degree is an extra $1.
Unlockable,
Yeah, exactly.
Unlockable.
Oh, you want to go?
temperatures.
You want to go to 72? That'll cost 99 cents.
No, it comes out just 72.
Freemium.
Yeah.
It's a freemium model.
Yeah, but then if you want to go up or down,
I'd like to have to like a digital thermostat where you have to click past an ad to go to the next. You're like, it's like 70, 71, 70. You're like almost a 72, and then it's like, try new like some kind of slippers that
Looks
keep you
like it's
warm.
beach weather
And
time.
you have to like go. You have to acknowledge that you've read it, and then you go to 72.
No, I would say if you start.
Why
lowering-
not Google? Huh? Google thermostat.
Now think about it though. If you start lowering the temperature, it's hot outside. You want some like skimpier clothing. You want a beach weather. You know,
I like where
vacation.
this is going.
See? I mean, like,
Skimpier clothing. You get to like some hardcore porn site when you're at 69 or something. I don't know. Okay, why did that happen?
Wow.
I don't know.
Wah, wah, wah.
You know what? You were all thinking it. Anyhow, let's move on.
There was actually
you were all thinking about thermostat porn.
You're all thinking about thermostat porn, but the temperature is set.
to channel To channel the ghost of Neeli, who may or may not be dead of alcohol poisoning right
He's
now.
definitely dead of alcohol poisoning. The man is gone.
There are some legal zingers that Neeli highlighted in his post. Quote,
gosh.
Can we get a legal zinger graphic up for this? Legal zingers, everyone. Go on.
Ooh. Quote, Nest denies that Honeywell is an innovator in the area of thermostat technology.
Ooh, sick bird.
I know.
I'm also channeling Eli. What a burn. Go on.
All of this leads to, quote, the inescapable conclusion that Nest Labs does not infringe a single valid claim from any of the asserted patents.
Boom. World explosion.
Done.
That doesn't really
Peace.
do it for me. I like the first one better.
Yeah.
Not
it's-
neither one of those seem very hardcore to me. All right, let's move on.
The
What's
lawyers
next
out there are
topic?
just loving this.
Canon has a 4K digital
Canon.
SLR, which I really wish was the Mark IV. Like this is they just came out with a $15,000 4K digital SLR.
Yeah,
And I
the
think
OS1
somebody
DC.
in the next year or two is going to come out with a less than $5,000, or I don't know. 4K is
just
going to get
riffing
cheap.
now. You're just making stuff
I
up.
want 4K so badly, and I want it to be cheap.
Why do you want 4K badly? You
4K
can't
is
even
so
look at it
beautiful.
on anything. What
What
are you going to do with it?
There's some projectors out there. The TVs will come.
Let me
Have you ever looked at an image and goes, I really just want the lower
also-
left quadrant.
Also,
me
you're
understand.
you're starting to
HD,
see,
1080.
you're starting to
I
see
like
movies.
this, but I actually would just prefer the upper right corner.
Sometimes
of this.
you like an indie film is shot in 1080p, and so you have to sit in a theater and look at a 1080p movie scaled up. I wish every indie had 4K.
Funny,
would say-
I need 4K
I would
mobile
say-
core in my life.
Oh, they're mostly shooting on.
I
right
would
now.
I would say what you described is pure nightmare. To have to watch an indie movie that was
Yeah.
shot in 1080p in a theater.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's probably if hell exists, that's probably like what it's like all the time. Is you have to watch indie movies in a upscaled.
I don't.
Woo!
1080p
That sucks.
So much stuff is
That
being
is
shot on
terrible.
1080p, and it's just not future proof.
You're right. Okay. Anything else to say about the camera?
That's it.
I don't have anything to say about a camera I
So,
can't afford and will never use.
a lot of money.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of money, and I can't do anything with it.
You could shoot in 4K.
I could shoot my Mumblecore film that I'm working
Yes.
on, and then finally save people from the horror of having to watch a 1080p film.
That's what all of the mobile
Closing the
all
Tribeca
1080p.
Film Festival at
Oh,
the Angelica
I
with
know.
Josh Topolsky's Mumblecore film starring Jim Gaffigan and John Krasinski
Hey,
as two cops.
What are you doing?
I'm just going on. I'm just.
What are you going to arrest that guy? Let's do a scene from my Mumblecore movie. You're gonna be we're two cops.
Okay.
It's a Mumblecore cop movie.
Okay.
And
Okay, you ready? So
What was going on?
this is I don't know. No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I mean, you know.
Hey
Like,
guys,
should
how
we
you doing?
should we arrest this guy or? I mean, I
don't do
don't.
anything. Just saying.
How big a guess? Yeah.
I mean, he should be arrested. I feel like.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're the fact that we're not
No,
arresting
I
him.
agree.
Guys, guys, I'm
agree.
right
That's-
here. I can hear you guys.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay,
That
yeah.
was seen from.
What were you doing?
arrested me, I'm
the
just
guy isn't
here.
being arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
There isn't actually, Mumblecore isn't just mumbling.
Oh, right.
There's talking.
Well,
No, actually, I've been to Mumble. I think you took me to a Mumblecore film once.
Did I?
And it was just mumbling.
No, it's not mumbling. It's just the way people talk when they're.
or was
don't-
it a 1080p?
It's the way
It
people
was
talk when they don't
horrible?
have it. It's the way people talk when they don't have a script or a
And they're
director,
totally improvising.
Or a plot.
and they're just like trying to figure out what the scene is about at the
Right.
moment.
Right.
That's what it's like. That's what my life is like 24/7, trying to figure out what the scene is about.
So we should talk about this Kazrai thing.
Yes, the one Sony.
The one Sony.
It's one Sony?
Yeah.
They need to. I don't know.
I'll
No.
believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
They've been saying that for 5
why
years.
is Sony like? It's like we're complaining about. We're making old Microsoft complaints about Sony now.
Old Microsoft?
Well, remember everybody was always like, why can't Microsoft get its old services together? And I think
Yeah,
they've
but they're
like,
still working on it.
I think they've
I
gotten.
get they're better.
I think they've gotten really far in the
You're
last
right.
couple of years. Like when you look at the
But I feel-
integration
I
and
feel
the
like-
design between all of their products, most of them now.
I feel like we've been complaining about that about Sony as long as we've been like really pissed at Microsoft.
I feel
about
like,
it.
but I feel like that most of the Sony complaints are really about like memory sticks more than anything.
Everything's
Well,
with memory
I wanted-
sticks.
I
Like,
wanted
the
one
HD
Sony.
Memory
DVD,
sticks, memory
hardcore
sticks,
FinX.
memory sticks, DRM, and proprietary, just proprietary everything.
Yeah.
That should be their slogan, Sony, proprietary everything. They're like, our RAM and our CPU and our new PlayStation don't work together.
Yeah.
Because they're both proprietary technologies. They're incompatible. Anyhow.
So anyway, yeah. So the one Sony initiative
raking
that
them over the coals.
Kazrai revealed is pretty much the exact same thing he said when he first took the job a couple months ago. That was
Yeah, talk into your mic.
Yes, talk into my
Way
mic, sorry.
louder when you talk into it.
All right. So anyway, yeah. So the things that he's been talking about since he got the job is basically he just kind of outlined. We do well in digital imaging with
Yeah.
the next series. We do well in gaming, and
I really love those cameras, by the way.
the next cameras are great.
They're just
They are wonderful.
They look like the cameras from the future. Sony has this ability every once in a while. They do this thing where whoa, that's not right.
Adjust
Sorry.
the arm again.
I really, we need to talk about this mic armature. I like it. I'm getting used to it. It's a little unpredictable.
I like how you're
But
you're hugging it. Like
I am
this.
hugging it. I just want to be close to it. Sony has this thing. Every once in a while they'll produce like the object of the future. Like it doesn't happen all the time.
No,
There is someone in there who's great at industrial
they were
design,
like
and every now and then
way
it gets to come
ahead of.
out.
They were way ahead of everybody in robots.
Yeah.
Creo and Aibo, and then they just didn't do anything.
Right.
With it.
No, right. They actually remember Sony released a real robot. Like there was an actual like a robot. It did things. Anyhow, that statement made no sense.
An actual robot that did things.
Again, yeah, the dog, the Aibo.
Right. Anyway, so the Kasarai wants to focus the three things that they do well.
Yeah.
Digital imaging.
Yep.
Gaming. And, as he put it, mobile. I mean,
That's they're making that up. They don't do mobile well. I don't know where they did like Ericsson did mobile well before anybody had a smartphone in like 1998 and wasn't part of Sony. So I don't know what part of mobile they think they do well.
anyway, that's
Does he mean the like Walkman?
it just says mobile. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, so our two Japanese
No, I
reporters went
understand
there.
it, but it's funny that they would claim they do it well because I don't think anybody.
Well,
I don't think there's any evidence. Does anybody here think like when I think
They have
great
good hardware design, but they just really always poorly execute on the
Right.
software.
Like they're
but if they were one Sony,
maybe
And they started releasing the Sony
I
One.
mean, I guess maybe
camera.
are they? I guess
phone.
you know the PSP
if they
is a
put-
mobile gaming platform, so
The PS Vita is
yeah, but it's not
released.
PS. Yeah, but I don't think the PS Vita is in any way like a contemporary product. I feel like it's a product of the past.
Oh, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, we
It's
have
like,
talked
It's the
about
sum
it.
of all parts of past gaming.
It is, and it's like I love the spirit of the Vita, but I wouldn't want one. You know, like it just doesn't make sense in our world now. I think. I mean, maybe it does for some people, but
But anyway, so
We're off track.
these are the three core businesses they're going to have that they're going to strengthen.
so they're going to drop their
They're
TV business.
they're turning around what they're calling they're not saying fledgling, but they're turning around the TV business that they acknowledge
Yeah.
is not doing as well as it should.
Yeah, if I were Sony, I would create a very streamlined product line of televisions. I would have like 3 TVs in 3 tiers. It would be like, here's your sizes in the low end, the middle, and like the totally badass best TV you can buy. And I think that like that would be really great for consumers because
Right.
they don't need. I mean, what is Sony's line right now with TVs?
The Bravia?
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? How many TVs do they make? I know they've trimmed some off the
I
top
mean,
of your
honestly,
head, don't you know?
I mean, their
supposed
bigger
to-
problem
just
is they just cost
Name
too
letters
much.
and hopefully
But
that's
they-
They
it.
cost
that's-
too much compared to
No,
Vizio.
they need like a Vizio competitor, and then who's the next up on the? Who would be next up on the list?
I mean, well, Samsung's a little higher up than that, I guess, but
Maybe.
I mean,
So
it's in that
they
area.
Need like a
That
Vizio.
ballpark.
They need like their Vizio brand, their Vizio line. They need the middle line that's like you don't want to go all the way, and then they just should have the one that's for total like aficionados. You
Kuro.
know? Yeah, the Kuro, which is non-existent. Is my mic cutting in and out? By the way, I feel like it's doing some. Really
I'm hearing
weird,
a little bit of it. I don't know if it's.
I think it's doing some really weird stuff. You guys getting that? You hearing that? Is it just the compressor? Is it just? Are you putting like a flange on my? Is this a tape delay? Delay?
Isn't delay just once and echo multiple times?
What?
No,
Oh,
you
sorry.
can. A tape delay can go.
Oh, yes, right. Okay.
Haven't you ever heard? I wish we could put effects.
I
on
was
our
like
voices
just.
while
I
we're-
was doing messing around with tape delay last
Tape
night.
delay's
So
the
I know
greatest, isn't it?
all about tape
All right.
delays.
Tape delay's the best. Anyhow, did he announce any real things?
I mean,
any
he
real
did-
moves.
He announced one move that's sure to make people happy. 10,000 jobs cut as they work toward restructuring.
Well,
this-
that's
the
what
one
you-
Sony
That's what you
initiative.
do when you're like not going to make. How
I
about
bet,
this?
I bet all those 10,000 they had a conflicting vision.
I went to a Sony meeting. Not that long ago, and they had those MP3 players they're making.
Are they still calling it Walkman?
Like seriously, guys, you don't need to make MP3 players. I mean, nobody's even like that's a dying market.
Was it just MP3 or was it MP3 and video?
It was an Android phone without a phone. It's their whatever.
Yeah, I saw that at IFA.
I think it's
last
first off
year.
the design is absolutely terrible. It is super ugly. in my opinion. Second, I just don't think they're like, we think we can be competitive with the iPod Touch, but I don't think they can.
That is everyone's
no.
white
Their
whale.
argument was the sound is better, but guess what? People listen to MP3s. That's the world you live in, not the world where people care about good sound.
They should buy Beats.
You live in the world where people listen to like 64K MP3s and are pretty much fine with them.
Nobody listens to 64.
People do accidentally. Or they get like an MP3 and then they convert it, and then
Right.
somebody gets that and they convert it.
I think
and then
most
you
people listen to
But it's funny because like
okay, fine. They listen to 128, but the point is, by the way, I don't know if I said this or not. CDs are back. I'm making the statement now. I want you to know.
do not think
CDs are back. It's cool to listen to CDs. They sound amazing, and CDs are the new vinyl. Okay, and everybody should start collecting them right now.
Look, I see
And
analog
buying-
always coming back, but
buy
digital
hey,
CD.
CD
You
is
can
still
always
more
make an
convenient.
MP3 from a CD. Can't go in the other direction, baby.
You
I'm
can't,
telling
you
you.
can't
Yeah,
put an MP3 on a CD.
You can burn.
Well, you know what I mean.
MP3
You know
to
what
a
I'm
CD.
saying. You can't. You have to start with the CD quality file, and you can't.
And
where
you
do
can't just take the
ripping
flags
it
or the
flat.
waves
Can't
and
get
just
Flax, man. Flax.
Yeah, flax for the 4 records.
Although I will say
for
it's
4,
prob-
a flax for 4 Yes records. That's exactly what I want. Thank you. Like, oh yeah, have you heard the flack of
But you can make
Tom
a flack
Sawyer?
from a CD.
Have you heard all the? Have you heard all the?
You know
Tom
you
Sawyer,
can rip
the
a CD
great Yes-
to a
Yes song?
lossless.
No,
flack.
not. I was continuing on with. I was going further into prog rock. I was going to start in on Rush because you can get the full remastered Rush collection on FLAC.
I'm
you
just
could
gonna go
also-
skip ahead to
Right here,
King
this
also-
Crimson.
dude, Michael
Rip a
Shane.
CD.
Michael Shane freaking out right now.
He's one of the biggest Rush
Michael
fans
Shane,
I
our
know.
editorial assistant, is the biggest Rush fan in the world, which makes him pretty cool. I don't mind telling you. You know what? Rush has a couple of okay songs.
We're not getting into this. I mean,
What is it? XYZ? Is that one of their? YYZ. That's a song, right? Yeah, that's a good jam. You know why? Because Geddy Lee's not singing on it. Because his voice.
dude, Mike, was that you? I just as loud.
What was that? Were you doing
Howl?
Geddy Lee?
Do it again.
That you wish he sounds that cool. That's not what Geddy Lee sounds like. All right, hey,
Pretty well.
we're discussing culture. All right, we
Yeah.
got what
All
else do we
right.
have here on the list?
Minecraft.
This is our last thing.
He's actually playing Minecraft right
I'm
now.
playing
I'm not sure if
Minecraft
it's
right now.
actually
It's
a
It's
topic.
not on the
but,
list. You're like, I love Minecraft.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
not
wanted
on
to
I've been
list.
watching for 10 minutes just go through and create things.
All right.
I haven't made anything since I've been on. I've just
You put creative
observing.
mode. You were in
I
creative
put
mode.
it. No, that's the thing.
So wait, you've been actually Minecrafting during this?
We're
Can we talk about Notch's new game for a second,
that looks awesome,
dude?
Yes.
It's such a good idea.
What is the name of it? It's
OX101.
No, what is it?
something.
You
0
find
by,
it in.
0 by 10 to
I'm
the
playing
C.
Minecraft.
Is it 0 by 10 to the C?
I don't know how he's actually saying that's how it's like actually spelled out.
It's so what's the plot? It's like 90s, early 90s 3D style,
Yeah, like
And it's set-
polygons
and it's
stuff.
set-
Polygon.
Polygon.
and it's set in.
Have we talked about the new brand, by the way?
Oh, we haven't. We should talk about
should
that.
talk about
We'll close on that. But it's
But
set,
it's like he calls it hard sci-fi, and
it's so it looks so
I
exciting.
think it might end up
Yes,
being
look at this.
a bit like a
Oh my god! I mean,
a space trading game a little bit, and
Oh
like
my God.
you're like controlling a
just
spaceship.
show the computer. Show the computer.
There's a
It's
whole
amazing we are, like-
programmable
Yes.
computer.
There's a computer in the game.
It's amazing how people are excited like these graphics
That
from
you
like
can program.
years and years ago. People
no,
would be
this is-
And you
complaining
can
about it.
you
It's a
can download
throwback.
apps that people make for that computer theoretically, and it's like we're not even gonna protect against viruses. So you could accidentally in game.
Is that a universal computer?
I don't know.
Is it shared amongst players?
No.
Oh, it's just for that-
So
for that-
it's like your ship computer.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could get a player created like app for your ship and load it onto that computer, but it could turn out to be a virus and kill your ship.
That's awesome.
That is
so
so cool.
So let me just talk about like we're talking about the graphics, saying people get excited about those graphics. I mean, I think that we've entered an era in gaming, and I think maybe in like in our association with technology and our like understanding of it, where we are starting to do something that's really exciting, which is not being obsessed with like, does it look like, is it super real? Like we were, I think we were on this path with gaming especially, and then we're still doing that, but we were on this like single path with gaming where I feel like everybody was like, let's make it look as real as possible. Let's make stuff we want it to be like you're in a movie, right? And I think people are still doing that, and we're getting there closer and closer every day. But there's this other thing going on that I think is really fascinating, which is our relationship with technology is now so broad and natural that we're like, yeah, why not make it look like something beautiful that isn't real?
Right.
You know, like it's and
Well, all
games
those
are
kaleidoscope things that came on the 80s when you were just starting to be able to do computer graphics, and so a lot of stuff was procedurally generated, and you have Tron, and you have all these just really wild computer graphics, and we've just completely kind of forgot about those.
Yeah.
For the time being.
It's exciting. I mean, I have to say, I think in games, and this kind of leads into, I guess, talking about Polygon, but I think in games especially, there's something that's culturally happening that's really special, that it is starting to be not... People are starting to understand gaming in a way that takes it out of this, like, dude, male-dominated... killing. It's all about killing. It's like, game, and like this kind of childish idea of what games are. And we're starting to like go like, yeah, these can be much more than that. They can be art. They can be meaningful. They can be like, moving, and you can create things in those worlds that are unlike anything that you've seen before. That are like of this full realization of the palette that we have in front of us, like
right. I mean, like video games has always been like, you could think of it as like three pillars: the pillar of technical achievement, which has always been like this huge focus of the experience that you're playing, which is it's always been there. People have always talked about it. It's now taken more of a center stage.
Yeah.
And now also narrative, but narrative not in a movie style, but narrative in like what you put in and what you get out of it.
Right. No, it's kind of incredible.
I think that's the key, is that so many games have been trying to tell movie and novel stories. Like RPGs were kind of trying to tell novels with all that dialogue, and bigger budget thing like Metal Gear Solid has been trying to be a movie.
Right.
But the real story in games is your interactions, like your personal story.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to jump off of that thing, but then that other thing hit me, and then I died really horribly, and it was awesome.
Right. That's why I contend.
Or
like,
horrible.
That's
or
why I
horrible.
contend like Left 4 Dead was like one of the best storytelling games, because it wasn't the story you played; it was what you played with your friends, and you shared these stories that no one else had.
And that's something I've loved about Minecraft, because I do want to bring it back to Minecraft, because we're doing an awesome project. But you survive in however you want to survive. If you're playing survival multiplayer, you can choose to build a crazy city, or you can play like PvP and like hide your little fort and like go and kill each other. Like, I mean, you can kind of choose how you want to live. The game isn't telling you how to be, and that's bothered me in a lot of games. Where it's like this game wants me to be kind of a horrible, amoral person. Like, I don't want to be a horrible, amoral person to have fun.
I think that is an interesting point, and we should wrap up after this. But
we should talk about this.
Well,
awesome
we are going to talk. What? We're going to talk about the Minecraft project, and we're going to talk about Polygon. But it is interesting that, and I've complained about this so much that and people have talked about this, and actually Josh Kopstein, one of our new writers, wrote something about gaming and how kind of everybody should be a game creator. And in a way, like, and in my interpretation of it, and I think this is one takeaway, is like it's almost like the new indie band. Like everybody starts a band. Mm-hmm. This is like everybody should like get with their friends and like make games, because
now we're finally at the level where we can do that.
Right, and there's a lot of amazing tools, and there's frankly like you can go and distribute the thing on Xbox Live and like sell the game and have people really love it. And I see like all these like brilliant. I mean, there's obviously this indie game movement that's happening right now that's really awesome. But the idea that like to be able to make choices in a game, I think it's one of the things I liked about Fallout, is that in Fallout 3, it isn't a game about like you can just go around killing. You have to go around killing. I mean, you do have to do some killing. I mean, but you can play the game without killing, And I think that like the idea that you actually have like a range of choices versus like only like here's what you got to get, you're in this world now, just kill everything, is like kind of amazing. Like I'm so sick of walking around games with only a gun in my hand.
Right.
It's like,
why not a flower?
Why not a bunch of things? Why not like a weird stick?
No, but it's like games like Fallout and games like
gun, flower, weird stick. That's all. That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah. Like games like Fallout and like Mass Effect, and don't want to get too far into that. Fable.
Yeah.
Like, what are the consequences of your personal choices, and you're giving these choices?
Yeah.
Actually, you show them, you get something out of it, and that's something you don't get in any medium.
No.
And
Life
as a medium, yes.
Anyhow, okay, two things really quickly. You want to talk about Minecraft?
We are building the Shimizu Mega City Pyramid in Minecraft, basically to scale, and it's so awesome.
Oh my god,
what is happening?
So those are pretty early renders, but it's just so awesome.
Now you're building it by hand.
Yeah, we're building it by hand. We're building legit in survival. So there's things on this server that were built in creative mode. And I'm flying around in creative mode.
I like those comments we saw there.
But all the stuff.
Somebody was like, "I need
that's
some
in
extra
this
bricks."
Pyramid, all this stuff in this pyramid has been mined out of our. It's like a huge Egyptian pyramid project where you have like people contributing
Slaves.
resources.
Do you have
slaves.
Do you have indentured Minecrafters
I
here?
think since it's
Yeah,
right
you
around
have a lot of
Passover, it's a
slaves.
perfect time to talk about. And then after they finish the structure, they're going to wander the Minecraft desert
That's true.
eating unleavened bread.
You know, the pyramid
not
is
just
right
sorry,
next to the desert.
unleavened, eating unleavened pixels.
That's great.
Wonderful project.
Anyways,
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Vergecast.
And you can join in. Is it happening?
This is looking impressive.
Is
I'm
this
excited.
happening?
Vergecraft server.
Is this happening this weekend? Is there going to be work on it?
We've been working on it for about a week.
Is there going to be like a? You're going to have like
also
a,
somebody's building a Hunger Games arena in our server.
Oh
I-
snap!
so that's happening this weekend as well.
That's pretty exciting. And when does that stuff? Is that Sunday?
Just
Saturday?
look at the forums. I don't know.
Okay,
when
check the forums. It's going to be going on the Vergecraft server. All right. And so the other thing that we should talk about is that our buddies, our bros,
Vox Games is dead.
Vox Games is dead.
It's gone.
And
They shot
in
it
its,
last week.
and in its place has a Polygon has arisen.
I cannot believe we got this.
Like a
domain. I am
phoenix
so
from the
excited.
ashes, like Christ during the Easter season.
You're really just going with this.
What? He came back from the dead.
It's true.
Right?
Yep.
I don't mean, as so says the Bible, which of course I don't believe in, but that's a one man's opinion. You're entitled to your own opinions.
We're not taking callers.
We're not taking callers on this topic, though I kind of would like to.
Although it's interesting that you spoke about them wandering in the desert as fact, but
Speaking
No,
of
that's
Christ,
part of the Bible.
I mean, maybe some
part
of
of the
that.
Bible.
I mean, I think people can wander in the desert.
it's true.
but I don't believe
I
people
actually
can eat
know
unleavened
for
bread.
a fact people can wander in the desert.
Like that Matt Damon movie.
Oh yeah, Jerry.
Oh,
Yeah, with Casey Affleck.
I really wanted to see that.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's on streaming, Netflix streaming. No, I don't know if it is. I think we just did a scene for a Mumblecore movie. All right, let's talk about Polygon really quick, and then we should wrap up because this
Yes.
is what is it, 2 hours now?
Yes. So, hour and a
What's
half.
going on here? What does that mean? It's like it's a square.
Is the caller just on hold? Like I
It's just like
He's-
I
he's
want to
been
talk
really
about the
waiting.
Bible. Someone calling
He's
it.
been waiting since Sony.
It's like I'm outside. You'll pay for what you said.
So last week at the Peanut Arcade Expo East in Boston, I'm just gonna take over now.
PAX.
At PAX East, Vox Games crew, which is Chris Grant, editor-in-chief, Justin McElroy, managing editor, Brian Crescente, news editor, Russ Pitts, featured editor, Chris Plant, Russ Freshtick,
go,
Emily
Oh,
Gira,
nice help.
Griffin McElroy.
Oh, whatever.
This helps.
Whatever.
Phil Collar.
Phil, yeah,
Collar.
New hires, Phil Collar.
Is it Collar or Collar? Do we know?
New hires, Phil K,
Yep.
Matt
Oh.
L,
Matt
Tracy
Leone.
Lynn,
Tracy
Leone,
Lien.
and Emily Gira.
Emily Guerra. So I shouldn't call the bros anymore.
No,
You know what? Let's stop the bros thing altogether. Let's just be people.
but Bros is shorter.
There should be is there a bros?
That's not gender specific.
Well,
it's gender neutral.
what's the girl version of bros?
I had a version of that.
What's the girl
Shoot,
version of bros?
I've talked about this on the podcast before.
All right.
Do you know? Creighton, I'm looking at you. I don't know why. Does anybody know the girl version of bros?
It might be girl bros, but no, that doesn't
That's-
sound
that's
right.
Lady
not-
Bros.
Lady bros.
No,
There
but
you go.
lady bros is just
Lady
bros
bros.
with lady in
No,
front of
it's
it. I
lady
mean, like,
bros.
bros is like for
Lady bros.
it'd be like sisses.
Oh, it's lady
Well,
bros.
bros is like my brother, right?
Right.
My bro. So it'd be sis.
Lady bros.
Sisses and bros. I like that.
Anyway, so we had so Vox Games announced a bunch of great new hires. I'm just going to stay on topic.
Some new bros and sisses.
The new bros and sisses from Kotaku Australia, from One Up, big names. We just grabbed someone from IGN,
Oh yeah, we have new hires too.
Scott Lowe,
We
who
can
is
talk about that.
amazing.
Scott Lowe, executive editor, formerly executive editor of IGN Tech,
Yes.
now senior editor at The Verge. Nate Ralph, formerly of PC World, now reviews editor. Josh Kopstein, who I mentioned, he wrote for Motherboard. He's a guy, by the way. Maybe I already talked about him on the Vergecast, but he wrote that "Dear Congress, it's not okay to not know how the internet works"
Right.
piece, which is amazing. He's doing some really cool, weird stuff for us.
And he's in Zen Albatross.
And he is an Albatross.
He is an
So he's like a
Albatross.
chiptune guy, which is awesome. So like, we have a chiptune dude just on hand.
Yeah.
He's just like half writing, half
Although he
making.
said you
awesome.
should quit your band and start making.
He did
games.
say quit your band. I actually worked on the headline with him, so he can't. I don't want to say that was his statement, but it wasn't quit your band. It was don't start a band. It was
Oh,
start.
don't start. So if you
So if
already
you already
started
have a
a band,
band,
you
you're
can
okay.
stay in your band.
It was don't start a band when everybody should be making video games.
Okay.
And who else? Am I forgetting somebody?
We probably are, but I mean,
We have more
it's
stuff.
been a lot of amazing hires going on.
And we have more stuff like lined up, like exciting, very exciting things.
And so Vox Games is dead.
And that guy called
Polygon.
in about the books.
Yeah.
And the guy who called in about the books,
Who's already hired.
who's now he's actually writing a post right now. For us. Anyhow.
Yeah. So Polygon, it's amazing that we got the name Polygon.com.
It's incredible.
I can't say enough great words about Lauren, our Vox Media legal guru.
Legal vice pres.
Something like that.
No, she's a vice pres. She's a legal counsel. She does.
I think it says super lawyer.
She
on
does
her
some
card.
HRing on the side.
Yeah.
She's Lauren Fisher, who does all of our legal stuff. She somehow made that Polygon name happen.
But and we had an obvious setup for this that I interrupted with Minecraft. But there's a thing with games that this retro aesthetic. It doesn't just have to be about 8-bit and NES and Super NES. It can be about digital aesthetics.
Well, there is this new art thing happening called the new aesthetic. Bruce Sterling wrote something about it in Wired, and there's actually kind of a little bit of a debate going on, and it's about I don't even know if we can just constrain it to art, but there is this kind of idea of this kind of robot readable world, this
digitally native world.
This digitally native, but it is a born of the people who have been digitally native for more than a decade now, and it's it's no longer foreign, it's natural. Right. I don't completely agree with calling it something. I mean, I don't think that you need to categorize it as something. I think you just need to say this is the world now.
I just think it's nice to have a retro aesthetic that isn't just limited to pixels.
But I think even calling it retro is actually is disingenuous to what it is, which is it's not retro when you're taking something. Is it retro to take something from your past and recontextualize it? I mean, that's what art has been doing since the dawn of time.
And art's the way to say. I mean, this year it's a sea change for gaming right now.
Yeah.
This year, MoMA did it.
Things are still made out of polygons.
Smithsonian.
They're just made out of a lot more polygons.
Well, that's the material. That's you're made out of atoms or whatever you're made out of, and it's but you're not those things.
Polygon is just part of a canvas, and that's the way to look at it now. Where it's gaming is maturing. People don't want to say art, fine, but it's maturing.
But
it's
I think that is a good. But when you think about it, Polygon is such a great name for a gaming site because it is one of the core structural elements of these things. But what it is also a total blank slate in the sense that, it can be the place, it can be how you tell your story, and those stories are all very, very different. And they have this core connector.
Many angles.
And it also means many angles.
We're seeing so many ways, these old technical barriers are just gone.
It's a revolution, folks.
We're not using the controllers, we're using hand waving.
Using our
gestures.
minds.
We have mobile. This is now a legitimate platform.
We should have Chris
we'll have Chris on it. We'll have Chris maybe on the next Vergecast.
If Neil doesn't recover.
Maybe Neil won't make it back.
He could die,
He could die from alcohol
poisoning. He could be dead now.
I hope he does. No, I'm kidding. That's not true. I'm joking. I love Neeli. And seriously, Neeli, if you're listening right now, which I'm sure you are.
Good recovery, buddy.
Do not drink too much. And
don't die just because Josh wants you to
die. Just because I suggested it would be a cool thing to have happen. And also, don't take any ecstasy, okay? That stuff will damage your brain.
Everything else is okay?
Everything else is fine. Any other drug you want to do is fine except for ecstasy. And that's it. That's our Vergecast of the week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at podcast. But we should change that to vergecast@theverge.com. But for now, it's podcast@theverge.com. I'm looking at you, Creighton. Make it happen now. Michael, do it. Okay. You can email us. You can find us on Twitter. The Verge is @Verge. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Ross is Ono Roscoe, no E on the end. Paul is Future Paul. Creighton is Sensible Madman. Mm-hmm. Michael Shane is Michael B. Shane.
Not Rush fans.
What's B stand for? Brett. Your middle name is Brett.
What can I do?
Michael Brett.
You can change your middle name. That's what you can do.
What a weird middle name. Brett. I'm gonna start calling you Brett.
What's going on, Creighton?
Yeah, Creighton, you want us to wrap up? Why? You're getting real nervous. Look at you. What is this? You need to learn. You need to learn your director moves. Okay, we don't know what that means.
It's toss the baby
it's
over
Muppet
the shoulder.
Impression. He's being a Muppet right now.
What is that? I don't know what that is. That's I'm so confused. I don't know what.
Maybe he wants us to keep going.
Anyhow, we'll be back. We'll be back next week with more Vergecast, and this will be up very soon. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. We were glad to be here with you, as always. And I'm just rambling now to piss off Creighton.
He's walked out. He's gone.
I think
We
it's
have no
working.
producer
And I just want to say a few more. Did you just change your shirt? Did I mention I was a little hungover? Anyhow, that's the Vergecast. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. All rock and roll.